Gravity and satellites. Gravity. It's the force that pulls all the things to Earth. How much gravity? All objects exert gravity. When there are two objects, they exert gravity on each other. The amount of gravity depends on size. The larger the object, the greater the force of gravity. The amount of gravity depends on how close the objects are. The closer the objects are, the stronger the force of gravity between them. Satellites. In space, a body which orbits a larger body is called satellite. The Moon is a natural satellite of Earth. The Moon and the Earth are attracted towards each other by gravity. The Earth is larger than the Moon. Earth exerts a greater force of gravity on the Moon than the Moon exerts on the Earth. So you can see there's a diagram over here. The Earth and the Moon are placed together. The Earth is larger than the Moon. The Moon has its own path that it would naturally take if the gravity does not exist. Orbit of the Moon around the Earth is already shown. Pull of the Earth is between the Earth and the Moon, and pull of the Moon too. Artificial satellites. An artificial satellite is an object that people have made and launched into the orbit using rockets. There are different types of artificial satellites that orbit the Earth. Artificial satellites have a positive effect on our lives and environment. For example, some of these satellites continuously take photographs which help to make weather predictions. How does an artificial satellite get into space? An artificial satellite is launched into space by powerful rockets. The satellite travels at an enormous speed to overcome the force of gravity pulling it towards the center of the Earth. Then, at a certain distance above the Earth, it keeps moving at the same speed in an orbit around the Earth. Gravity pulls the satellite towards the center of the Earth and keeps it in its orbit. Artificial satellites. Here are a few questions. What is an artificial satellite? It's an object that people have made. Artificial means it's man-made. How does an artificial satellite manage to travel from Earth into space? It's launched using rockets into the orbits. How does an artificial satellite keep in orbit around the Earth? A satellite stays in its orbit by balancing two parameters, that's speed, which is velocity, and gravity. Look at the photograph of the artificial satellite. What is providing the power to keep it moving? It's solar arrays. Look at the satellite image at the beginning of this topic. It shows a tropical cyclone. Weather satellites track weather such as cyclones and send the photographs to scientists on Earth. Why do you think it's useful to see these photographs? Weather satellites primarily use it to detect the development and movement of the storm systems and other cloud patterns. So that's how they use it to detect if there's a cyclone coming in your local area or not. Meteorological satellites can also detect other phenomena such as city lights, fires, effects of pollution, sand and dust storms, snow cover, ice mapping, boundaries of ocean currents, and energy flows. Do some research. Find an example of another Earth feature that satellites can photograph and send back to scientists on Earth. Share what you have found out with the class. Earth observations. Satellites can monitor ocean and wind currents, as well as the extent of forest fires, oil spills, and airborne pollution. Together, this information helps organize the emergency responders and environmental cleanup. Satellites can take the search out of the search and rescue for people in distress in remote regions.